Hello, this is going to be the final video finishing off this, and I just realized that I forgot to mention in part 2 how I rasterized the shapes to make it one layer. So you might, I don't know if some people noticed that. So unfortunately I can't undo because I'm just carrying this on, but if you did want to rasterize a shape, I'm just going to quickly get the pen tool and just make a random shape here. Now, if you wanted to make this no longer a shape but just a normal layer, and that's also adding in all the different effects and everything, all you simply have to do is right click on the layer. Oop, can I right click in it? I'm trying to right click it in a way you can see it, and here it is, rasterize layer. If I click on this now, you see that this just becomes a normal shape. So I can move this around. I can't use the pen tool on it because it's no longer a vector shape, it's just a shape. So that's what I did. So that's what you have to do for the shapes down there. Hold shift and you rasterize the layer. But you just need the shapes there. So I'm just going to drag this and put it in the bin. Apologies for the loud sound there. Someone was just messaging me, so I've just quickly now put my headphones on. So yeah, what we're going to do next, we're going to get our layer to have a bit of a shadow, and to do this I'm going to duplicate it, turn it black, and then we're going to use something called a mask tool to just carefully erase and change it around a bit. So I've got my shape here, which I'm going to rename, let's see, try and rename it. There we go. It takes a couple of double clicks. You may accidentally get the blending options. That bit's really annoying. So I'm going to call this ribbon. And I'm going to right click. Oop, try and right click in a way you can see it. Duplicate the layer right there. And I'm going to call this ribbon shadow. I'm going to drag the ribbon shadow underneath the ribbon because it needs to be underneath. And then with the ribbon shadow, I'm going to turn it so it's a shade of black. And so I just cleared my throat there. So to do that, I'm going to double click on the layer, or alternatively you could right click blending options. And I'm going to do a color overlay and set to automatically to red, which is not the color I want. I'm going to click onto here and change and drag it down to black, so the RGB should be 000000 right there. Click OK. OK. And now if I were to move the ribbon, which you do using the move tool, there we go. I'm just moving it a bit extreme there. Just going to use my arrow key and just pull it down just a smidge until I'm quite happy with where it's going. That looks kind of cool actually. Now if I were to edit this or use the masking tool or to change the blending settings on this, it will get rid of the black and it wouldn't work as well. So I'm going to combine the ribbon shadow and try and flatten it for the effects. You would probably have to do this with the other ribbon. So with the ribbon shadow selected, I'm going to click down here and insert a new layer, hold shift and click on my ribbon shadow, and then right click, unfortunately, let's see, can I, oop, sorry, this is getting a bit tricky, there we go, trying to make sure you guys can see, and I'm going to merge these layers. Make sure you have merge layers. If you merge with visible, it'll merge everything that you see on screen into one. We don't want that. It's merge layers. I may call it layer 2, so I've got to call this ribbon shadow again. Annoying thing with this. So there we go, it's just a normal layer that's got a black ribbon, doesn't have any blending options, doesn't have anything, it's flattened exactly the way we want it. So I'm going to zoom into my image by pressing Ctrl and plus. Alternatively, you could go to your navigator by going onto Window, Navigator, and then you can zoom in or out and you can move this to where you want it to go. So just gonna, I'm quite happy with the way my ribbon's showing at the moment in certain places. Let's have a look at it around here. For certain areas I just don't want it to show up on, so I'm going to be editing that out a bit. But what we're going to do, we're going to first of all maybe turn down the occupancy a bit. So I'm going to click on ribbon shadow. Actually I'm going to change the blending settings here, just have a look what we've got to see, not dissolve. And because I've got it selected, I can go through the different options and just find the right setting. I often do this because, I'm liking the overlay. Soft light is pretty good as well. I often do this, I often go through all the different blending options until I find, not that one, the right one. Okay, I think it's between soft light. Actually, I'm going to leave it on overlay because that's a really good, nice shade there. Yeah, I really like the overlay. Well, that's not overlay. Where is it? So I try and click on things. Maybe not overlay. Maybe I'll just leave it on normal and do it manually. You can change around the settings as you want. Now, to add in the shadow, what we have to do, add in the mask. Down here in your layers, so I'm just going to pull this out just so you can see what I'm doing. We've got all different kinds of things happening here. At the bottom, we have link, effects, and this is the one, the square with a dot in the middle, that's our masking. If we click on it with the ribbon shadow selected, we get this curious white box. Now, using masks can be really handy. So I'm just going to drag layers back on. Just be very careful when you do this and make sure you have the mask selected. You can tell the difference if you just look. If I click on here, we can see we've got a weird border around the normal layer. If I click on the mask, we can see we've got this weird selected border around this white area. And the way masks work, everything that's white is visible and everything that's black is invisible. So we just need a black brush. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to set this to black. You can click on it and make sure it's set to black. And where's the brush? Just going to click on the brush, and I'm actually going to, you can click on here, this arrow, drop down arrow. I right click to get it where I wanted to. I often do that. It can be annoying. We want a basic brush, 100, yeah, I think about 60 is a nice soft option, or you can even go to 45, maybe 35. Yeah, 35 is a nice option. So have it soft on 35, or even, I might leave it on 60 so I can get the softness there. Or would a 9 be better? Yeah, we want a harsh edge because the ribbon's quite harsh in places, so I'm going to put it as a 9. No, maybe 12. Yeah, I often play around with these settings. It depends what you create, you can change it the way you like it to. So yeah, we want it at hardness 100%, and we want the size of the brush to be 12 pixels. So you can select the pre-made ones here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn down the occupancy on my brush to about 30. And what that is going to do is going to, if I create a new document just to show you, nice little intro of brushes. And zoom in quite a bit. There we go. So this is my brush. If I set it to 100, it brushes like normal. If I turn the occupancy down to 30, you can see it's gone grey. But if I draw on top of it as layers, and if I just keep go around in circles, just tapping away at it, you can see it goes darker the more I tap it. So that's what the occupancy does. And mine's a bit stuck because that happens sometimes when I'm recording. So you can draw all kinds of things. So if you see I'm going on top of that, let go, click again, I can draw on top, click again, make it darker, click again, make it darker, click again, make it even darker. I might actually change this to 40 because I don't think that's dark enough, so 40. It's kind of like grey, but not quite, so there you go, it's a darker shade of grey. Until you get to black. There we go. So that's how you use the occupancy. Now this can be really handy because you can have different shades of grey in this. So with the mask layer selected, I'm going to start just get it so that it's fitting on here. So I'm just gonna zoom in a bit more. You have to select a bit of your shadow, and I want it to appear mostly on the edge here. You see it's starting to fade. I might change this up a bit higher, maybe to 60. It's not quite doing it strong enough for me. There we go. You can always change the occupancy the way you want it to be. So there we go, we've got a bit of a hint of a shadow there. Might do this a bit softer. No, don't want that soft. And just keep drawing. I'm going to increase this to 100 because I want this part completely gone. Now let's say I make a mistake and I draw across this. Oops, what do? You could go back in your history, press Ctrl and Z, or if you want a bit more control, you can turn it from black, get my brush and change it from black to white, and you can actually draw it back in if you make a mistake. And that is the lovely thing about the masking tool. You could just simply brush it right back in there. If you make a mistake and you look back and think, I made a huge mistake there, you can simply go back and edit it. And that is absolutely what I love about using the brush tool sometimes. You can undo. Actually, I want to add a bit of a shadow on the edge here, so I'm using little tiny arrows down here just to switch backwards and forwards between black and white. Just going to add a bit of a shadow there. It's a nice sweeping action there, so sweep. Maybe refine it a bit more. As you can tell again, I am very much a perfectionist. I will keep going until I feel happy, and that's I like that effect, so I'm just going to tidy it up there. And that's in essence what you do. You just keep going and going until you've got the shape that you want. Just going to add a bit more of a shadow here, maybe turn this occupancy down, lighten it up a bit. There we go, that's pretty cool, I like that. And turn it maximum up here. You see, try to get that weird shadow effect going on here, so it's darker in some places and lighter in others, so don't want that bit there. Certainly do not want it here. Maybe a hint of a shadow there. Wait, look that up. So it's up to you. I'm going to carry on playing around with this. Just keep going. I'm actually using the space bar to just... I'm pressing down the space bar and dragging with my left mouse button to get the moving it around, so... Oh, that's flow, sorry, wrong setting there. We want occupancy down a bit more. There you go, so it kind of has a blending effect there. There we go. So let's zoom out. And there we go. Just by doing that, you've created a really nice kind of shadow effect happening here and there, and just giving it that extra sense of depth. Now the next thing we're going to do, now we've got our shadow in there, we're going to add a little bit of detail in this text because it's looking a bit plain at the moment. So we're going to add a little bit of something special to it. So next I'm going to create a new layer above, well, actually below the ribbon, because we want the ribbon to be underneath. So we've got this one called lines, which are these lines here. I'm going to click and create a new layer, and I'm going to select a new brush. It's going to get a nice, maybe a 6. Yeah, 6 looks thin enough. And am I going to leave it? Yeah, I'm going to leave it about, actually I'm going to set this to about 50% hardness. And I'm going to select a white. Let's get a white brush. I'm just going to zoom in. And I'm just going to add some random little patterns here and there, just some nice little squiggles. So, probably by, ooh, actually, oh, just realised my occupancy is down a bit, so I'm just going to increase that to maximum. My brush is a bit too thick, so I'm going to reduce this even more, maybe about 2. Yeah, 2 looks good. So I'm just going to just create some random swirls here and there. Just making it up as I go along, just like damn it, my thing's not moving very smoothly here. As you can see, I'm just randomly drawing on here. And because I'm underneath the shadow layers, I can draw underneath, it doesn't interfere with the shadow. So you can really squiggle away. Oh, that was rubbish. You can tell I'm not very good at drawing with a mouse, but just for this exercise, I'm just doing this quick. Hopefully you can spend a bit more time perfecting yours and just making it look... That's rubbish. Making it look better than mine. You probably hear some dinging in the background there. My friend's just trying to show me a screenshot of a game where the textures have failed if anyone's playing Dota. Let's zoom out. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. I love that. Now, just to make sure it blends with the highlights and everything, I'm just going to click from normal with the new layer selected, and we're going to change it to overlay. And you see it's more of a bluey colour. It just goes with the highlights and tones of the shape I'm going with there. Right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to be adding some smoke effects. And this is going to be really nice and simple. So we're going to create another new layer. So I'm going to click on layer. New layer down here, come on. And I'm going to call this smoke. So I'm going to get the brush again. So I am following a tutorial which I'm going to link. And my friend is still dinging me, and I'm going to have to smack that person in a bit. So I've got my brush. I'm actually going to go for, let's go 50% hardness again. And 4, I think, yeah, 4 would be just right. So actually I'm going to go 0% hardness, make it nice and soft. And what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to like draw some randoms. Actually, not that small. Maybe about 3 would do it. 0 hardness. And just draw some swirly, weird shapes here and there. Yeah, you can just be random. You can have a little shape here. Little one there, and I'm just going to do a wiggly one there. Yeah, you can be really random, you can be messy with this, because we're going to just basically use Gaussian blur and blur this out. So I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian blur, right there. Doesn't matter which version you're using, this should be there. And we're going to increase this to 4.9. And we should have preview turned on, so there we go. You can see it's gone all smoky and everything. We can increase it. That's too smoky. Yeah, I kind of like 5.5, so I'm going to go a bit more than the tutorial says. So we've got a nice smoky effect there. That's pretty cool. And now the finishing touches, we're going to add a little bit of shape here and there. I'm not going to add too many. So we're going to be using the pen tool again. Right, so the color I want is quite specific. So I'm going to go down to the color. You can also go on, where is it? Where are my colors? Not swatches, brush. Nope. If you're ever wondering, go and cut here and color. There, why is it there? Okay, I'm going to drag this and put it back into here. The styles can go away. So I've got my color, I can double click on this, or down here, does the same thing. And we want, this guy down here is now set to FFFFFF, which is the RGB for white, but we want a different color. So mine's going to be 5, 4, 5, E for elephant, 4, and E. So we've got this really weird grayish greeny color here going on. Click OK. And with that color selected, I'm going to need the pen tool again. And I'm also going to zoom into my image and select a nice little area. I'll go for this weird band over here. Yeah, just band it there. Get the pen tool. And I'm just going to create some weird little half moon shapes. So I'm going to click over here, drag, make it a bit curved. Click over here. Then over here and drag to get that curvy shape in there. That doesn't look really good. Just going to undo that. Let's try this again. Now I'm going to click and drag. I'm sorry, my recording's going a bit silly there. Drag. Just a little bit. Just keep dragging. And at the end here, when you click and drag, it gives it... There we go, I can give it a bit more curvy there. And there you go, you create a nice shape. If you ever want to edit your shape, you can click on this little handle down here, which is the direct selector tool. You can click on your shape. Or maybe the path selector tool. There it is. If you click and hold on any of these tools, click and hold on your mouse, you can select the item below it. So I can... No, just trying to... Okay, let's try... I'm not very good. You can probably tell I'm not very good with these shapes, and it doesn't help when my computer freezes. There we go, just double click and I can just readjust this, make this a bit thinner. Now I'm happy with that shape, and yeah, there we go. Takes a bit of clicking around. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a few of these in different places. I think just 3 for now. So Just find a place. Oop. See, I'm clicking on random things. Not good. I think maybe a little one under here and then one at the very end. So I'm going back to shape 3. Get the pen tool and just create a little one under here. I think it's quite a thin one. There we go. And finally I'll just do one at the end here. Getting the hang of this now. Pen tool can be quite tricky when you're not used to it. It takes a fair bit of practice just to get the hang of it. Oh, that's too thin. I'm using Control Z to undo the last point I've made, so that can be quite handy. And there you go, that's your finished object. I don't really like the grey, I may leave those out. But a handy feature to add in if you wanted to. And that is it. That's how you create the 3D text. Hopefully you enjoy this tutorial and tune in again next time.